Hello, everyone. This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Truths channel. How's everybody doing this Saturday evening for our Saturday evening hangout, night hangout? Anyway, tonight we're going to talk about a few things that have come to my I've noticed, and one of them is about the war with Venezuela. I got a new theory behind that. We need to talk about how we can protect ourselves from all the gifts that we get during Christmas to protect ourselves from the surveillance state. Interesting, Boy, when they make toys almost like Chucky, we're in bad shape. And maybe we'll talk about Bigfoot a little bit. So anyway, that's what we're gonna discuss tonight. I tell you what, I like Saturday night hangouts. I'm gonna do more of these to where you can sit there and bring up what I want to talk about. If you're in the chat, you can bring up what you want to talk about. We'll just have an open forum. But I got my stuff that I want to talk about. But it just gets more messed up and more messed up. I tell you what, there's so much material in today's world. I wish I was a comedian. I could have a stand-up act that would have people rolling on the floor. Just not a comedian. I would probably have people leaving if I did stand-up comedy. But anyway, there's a lot that can be made fun of these days. But anyway, I want to get into what I think about what's going on with Venezuela right now. Okay. One reason we're not at war with Venezuela yet is because the American public is not behind it. I heard that only 20% of the American public is behind war with Venezuela. So as long as we keep it at those numbers, we won't have to worry about going to war with Venezuela. So, because I still think that would be the straw that finally breaks the camel's back. But anyway, I listened to this one YouTube channel, this gal. It's basically, she does a breakdown of what's happening in Europe during the week and stuff. And she was talking about how Europe by 2027 want to be off the natural resources, their energy they get from Russia. They want to be totally off Russia, dependency off of Russian energy. For Europe to do that, how would they be able to do that? How old am I? I am 58 years old. Yep. See the gray hair? All I had was girls. So I give them, that's the reason I have gray hair, is because all I had was girls. But yeah, I'm 58 years old. Trying to live the life, and just can't happen, can it? Anyway, talking about Venezuela. So anyway, Europe wants to get off the dependency of Russian energy within 2 years, 2027. Now, how can they do that? I mean, that's a big. 2 years, you're just going to get rid of basically who's supplying all your energy in your country just like that without replacing it, with no plan to replace it? Well, I think there's a plan to replace it. And I think Venezuela may have something to do with it. Mayro 25, Mayrat, I can't 25. Who's this? This is Tom, the Hidden Truths channel. We're talking about the hidden truth behind this war that they want to start with Venezuela. All I know is when I hear Europe talking about their energy plans after the next 2 years, all I can think about is Venezuela and the natural resources they have. And the U.S. would love, if Europe were to sit there and tell Russia, we're not giving you no more of that money, and they were to go to somebody like Venezuela and say, hey, would you supply us with that? Don't you think the U.S. would want to be part of that? It all comes down to money. But if we're actually going to fight a war, well, you can say the first Gulf War was over resources. But if they're going to sit there and fight a war with Venezuela over their resources so we can make money off of supplying Europe their energy, that's just downright bullcrap. I still think it has a lot to do with this drug war. The CIA don't like the competition that they have. I mean, you got to admit, a lot of the drugs come in this country is from the CIA. They allow it. They got to sit there and be able to pay for their operation somehow, right? If the government doesn't fund it, somebody's got to fund it, and the CIA is probably a very expensive agency to finance. But we're all aware of how crooked the CIA is and stuff. The cartels in Venezuela ain't even the top 10 cartels in the world. The top 5 are in Mexico. So anyway, like I say, I heard this today about Europe and their plans for their energy after the next 2 years. And it's all starting, those dots are far apart, but they're still there. And I would just really be interested, what Europe's plan is, how they're going to get their energy after 2027. Okay, I'm sure they still get a bunch from Saudi Arabia, but remember, Saudi Arabia is not being as friendly to the West as they used to be. Okay? And, this world is basically just fucking gone out to, wars are fought over resources. They always say that. Expansion is the resources so that, their country can flourish and stuff. To trash another country so their country can flourish. But whatever. I mean, if our government's really going to go to war with Venezuela so we can supply and make money off of supplying the energy to Europe after they get rid of Russia, just one little possibility that could be going on. It fits. To me, it fits. They're making plans, and the energy's got to come from somewhere. And, I'm just sick of us picking on Venezuela. My God, they've been bringing drugs up there. During your first term, Trump, you didn't do nothing about it. Well, we ain't got enough wars going on in this world right now that we're financing, that now you're going to sit there and try to fool us with the war on drugs when it's actually against something else. Anyway, I just find it interesting that Europe wants to get rid of Russian energy by 2028, so they have to end 2027, and we're going after Venezuela. Just one thing that, to me, makes sense. These people are crooked that are in charge of us, and they don't really care. As a former narcotics agent, I will have to keep my mouth shut. Yeah, if you know anything, you better keep your mouth shut. As a former Marine who traveled the world and saw the garbage the U.S. government did, but I'm here on YouTube trying to say it, nobody wants to listen anyway. But, I can just about, I heard a Marine once told me he was stationed out in Pendleton. I wasn't stationed there. I can't remember, I think we're at Woodby Island at the time. And he told me that the biggest drug parties that he ever saw, he dated a cop, was the parties that he went to with his girlfriend. Those were the biggest drug parties he ever saw, was the cops. Oh, yeah. Like, I guess once you're a cop, right, you got that badge and gun, you can never do no wrong. Just like, you become an angel, all of a sudden got the halo over your head. Just like if you're a billionaire, there's never any billionaires in prison. Why? Too big to fail, too big to jail. Anyway, it's crazy time. Yeah, if we knew all the secrets, if we were allotted all the secrets that our government's hiding from us, how long do you think our government would survive after that? I mean, this is the thing. If they sit there and gave us all the information Doge had, where, you follow the money, you find the crime, but there's lots of crimes I'm sure you'd find at the end of $39 trillion in debt, don't you think? Government That's what they do. But there's are good men out there that are risking their lives, and yeah, I know that. I was one of them in the Marine Corps. But you know what? It's been the majority are bad, very bad people. Look at Millie Vanilli, 4-star general in the Marine Corps, head of the under Biden, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Traitor. I would have sat there and told China if Trump would have gave us orders to attack, and I went to follow them. That's coming from the general, okay, who's basically in charge of making sure the private stays alive. He don't even give a shit. Okay, there's war coming down the pipe. Well, I say with Venezuela, as long as the American public doesn't get behind this, it's never going to happen. And Europe's going to have to go somewhere else to find their energy. You know, the thing is, you got set up good with Russia. Why you want to destroy a good thing over Ukraine, over Zelensky? You know, there's more to that too than we know. Didn't Trump have a deal with them about rare earth minerals or something? They were supposed to be shipping them over here. You know, anyway, there's always a new peace plan or this peace agreement that never comes true. I thought there was supposed to be peace in the Middle East with Hamas again. I guess that didn't happen. Anyway, I'm just wondering if we ain't trying to take over Venezuela so we can supply energy to Europe in 2028. I'm just curious. Because where are you going to get it from, Europe? Where are you going to get it from? Okay, especially, you know, a lot of the countries now ain't exactly West friendly. Anyway, like I say, why screw up a good thing? You got a good deal with Russia. You're getting cheap resources, cheap energy. All right? And they're going to do everything they can to destroy it because, you know what? The little guy's the one that hurts. Anyway, just craziness in this country and what's going on. And like I say, this Venezuela war isn't about drugs. All right? That's what they're trying to tell us it's over. Okay? It's not about drugs. There's something way deeper going on with this. Anyway, but I'm sure they'll show us more videos of them blowing up drug boats and stuff, whatever. And all you people that think it was fine that they did a double tap on those guys that were in the water, okay. It wasn't. It was illegal. Okay? If we're going to go to the war on drugs, that would constitute them as enemy combatants, which are protected under the laws, the Geneva Convention. Just like when we brought the terrorists and put them in Guantanamo Bay, they were still, you know, they still got the Geneva Convention, what they were allotted under that. So it's not okay to just go do that. If I'd have done that in the military, somebody was basically giving up and I'd have killed them, I'd have been charged. You're not allowed to mutilate the enemy after they're dead or alive. But don't worry, we mutilate our children on operating tables, sit there because they feel they want to be a different gender. Strange country we live in, people. Strange country we live in. And now that we're talking about children right away, let's get on the subject about Christmas this year. I tell you what, these AI toys, they're just flat out scary. Okay, you get an AI toy, it's just a bad idea. You know, a stuffed animal, these kids are going to grow up with inanimate objects talking to them, and they're going to think that it's real. Almost like, oh my God, Walt Disney came to life in my bedroom. I mean, just the mental, kids not in reality. Video games already had a bad deal with taking kids out of reality. Now we're going to deal with little toys that are just like, that can walk, you know, this dog they got, just real, you know. And then you're going to put your kid to bed with this toy, and all of a sudden you're going to have the toy giving your kid a bedtime story. It's just a bad thing, people. It's a bad thing. You don't want a toy talking to your 2 or 3-year-old when the parents are when the parents aren't around. I mean, talk about brainwashing a kid at a young age. I mean, Chucky, just in a different way. Okay, this AI toys. I mean, I remember I was back during the Slinky. I grew up in that, the one where you had the barn animals and you turn the dial and you pull the string. A cow, this is a cow. A cow goes moo. Okay? Matchbox cars and stuff. Remember when Tyco came out with those racetracks? The electric racetracks with the cars? I thought that was cool. That's true. I think about it as... That's a funny question you ask about. Did you ever do anything that wasn't morally right? War is hell. You mean, did I ever have to sit there and when I got out and I wasn't in it no more, and you get out and you be a civilian, and yeah, morally right, I did what I was told. You did what you were told. You didn't think about whether it was. That stuff didn't come into my mind till after I got out, and yeah, I had problems with it. Okay. I just, that's when they take us young guys. I wanted to be a Marine. Couldn't wait to be a Marine and stuff. And they take us eager people, and they train us to be killers, and then sends you out on your business and stuff when you're 19 and 20 and 21 years old. I mean, it just affects you, all right? And you tend to have a lot of problems when you get out, okay? People say, oh, you like me, you need to settle down. You get so excited. Well, no shit. No shit. That's what I was trained to do, to get excited and solve problems. Okay? Anyway, tell you what, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, to subscribe, and the bell notification. I appreciate the support. I guess there's a super chat up there too. You should be able to see if you want to hit that. And whatever. Support the channel, okay? Because they're coming down hard, people. They're coming down hard. This administration, I don't feel as much better than the other administration. Okay? Elections don't fix problems. Especially, when you voted for the guy that kicked you in the gut. Anyway, that's beside the point. But, they just say our politicians don't give a shit about us. And they want to keep us silent. Trump's going to start this committee on protecting our constitutional rights. Really? You don't even know what the phrase shall not be infringed means. The founders, the people who ratified the Constitution, they added the Bill of Rights to it because they wanted some more protection for the American citizen. And basically it said, when government starts infringing on your Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, which, turned into more, but, it's time to enact the Declaration of Independence. And all these laws that they keep passing and stuff against our Bill of Rights. And with the, January 6th, what they had to deal with their 4th and 5th Amendment rights, and probably 6th. They had a few of their their rights violated. Trump ain't doing nothing about that. Whatever. See, this is what our government wants us scared. They want us scared of them. If you don't stand up to it, if you're scared of them, you won't stand up to them. People that are, a government that's scared of the people serves the people. The people that are scared of the government serves itself. And that's what we're into these days. The government's just serving itself. Anyway, back to these protecting yourself from Christmas. Okay. Now, you're adults. These are the kids. I just hate that our kids are having to deal with this type of shit. My brother and I were talking this morning about when we were kids and we'd go out and play and, we lived out in the country and stuff, but you can't do this out in the country. And I said, yeah, Jim, the reason we were able to play outside when we were 5 and 6 and go miles away is because our parents didn't have to worry about us being abducted. Kids in cities, make sure you come home when the street lights come on. You can't have that no more. And now we got more dangers to our kids, not only being abducted, but AI toys that you got to worry about in their bedroom, whether they be talking to them or gleaming information off of them. And all these AI toys are going to have microphones and they're going to have cameras in them somewhere. They want to make it so there's every place in your house they can see, whether it's through your TV, your computer, your freaking lampshade, your refrigerator. There's cameras and microphones and everything. Somebody buys you a smart TV for Christmas. Yay! I get spied on. There was a thing down in Texas. I think it was Texas. Maybe it's been almost 10 years ago now, where those school laptops they were giving to students, where they were able to activate the cameras even if the laptop was turned off, but the lid was still up, and they're watching these kids undress and stuff, and nobody got in trouble. Nobody got in trouble. And just imagine what these toys are going to do. Because I guess Barbie, they couldn't get the AI Barbie out before Christmas because there was issues with it. Didn't toys have to go through some scrutiny to make sure they were safe for children before they were allowed to be manufactured? I believe that a toy that can talk independently to a child without parents, well, even with parents knowing but not hearing it, and a child being able to talk back is not right. Is not right. Anyway, it just another sign of we live in the wackiest freaking world I could ever think of anymore. What happened to the simple toys? Like I say, why does a toy, when I was growing up, we played with a toy, and the reality was you were playing with the toy, okay? And then you went out, you didn't lose your grip on reality. But like I say, all of a sudden you're going to have the stuffed, animals like your Walt Disney characters that are talking to you and comforting you like a friend. It's not going to be good, people. It's not going to be good, okay? Where that toy is going to become more important to that child than his parents are. What bad possibly could happen to that if their teddy bear is teaching them how to be moral? And we all know what morality is these days. It's a sick and twisted thing. Anyway, and then, like I say, all the cameras you're going to bring into your house and your microphones. All the surveillance we got in our houses now, all the computers we got up, smart TVs, and like you say, your appliances are listening to you. A smart house is basically a house where they can control everything in it. They want to sit there, these outlets, they're monitoring how much juice is used in each outlet. And then they can sit there and say, well, you used too much juice in this outlet already. We can just turn that outlet off. Anyway, Christmas has just become another way where they can introduce spying into our house. I can't believe parents are going for this. Any parent who buys their kids an AI toy, you're probably going to have problems in the future. Okay, it's bad enough when they come home from school. My kids would come home from school and they say, well, the teacher said this, well, which is completely wrong. Okay, and you'd have to sit there and basically argue with your kids. What are you going to do when they argue with because your teddy bear said this? Their teddy bear said this. It's all going to lead bad into a bad place, people. Our kids are messed up enough, okay? Half the kindergarten classes don't even know how to go to the bathroom yet properly. And teachers got to compete with that and cell phones and all that other stuff. And then now kids are going to be bringing their AI teddy bear with them to school, and the teachers got to deal with that. It's just a bad thing, people. We can't let this take over. You wonder what AI is capable of? I always say AI is capable of what the programmers are capable of. So we know what the programmers are capable of, especially when they program their bias into it. Crazy time, people, crazy times. Thanks for the answer and service. I served when the Marine Corps. I was going to the recruiting station when I was in the 8th grade, and he just kept telling me to come back when I was older. And I was one of them. When I went to boot camp, I left 3 days after I graduated high school, and I was writing my recruiter how much fun I was having at boot camp. So, I love the Marine Corps. I love serving my country. But the reason they get young people to do it is because young people are young, dumb, and naive and full of energy, young, dumb, and full of cum, okay? That's why they get us to do. I think back now, woo! Speed roping out of a helicopter 100 feet up in the dark of night into an LZ. That's the only time we use leather gloves in the Marine Corps. When they drop a rope out of the back end of a helicopter and you hit that rope and you hit the ground, you hit and roll because the other guy was about 5 feet above you coming down that rope too. So crazy times. plus all the water training I had and stuff. But, that's why young, healthy people should be doing that. And then I heard this stat again. I keep hearing this crap. I had an argument with my ex-wife one time about our kids. And she said, people are kids until they're 27. And their mentality. My comeback was that, well, I guess our country's protected by all children then, right? Because the average age for a military person is under 27. So our country's protected by all children. She goes, well, you people are different. Now I heard a study today that you're actually a child, an adolescent, until you're 32. 32. I mean, who the hell's coming up with this shit? If you wait to 32 to finally become an adult, you've already pissed a lot of good years away. God, who listens to this shit all the time? These so-called experts. Experts my ass. Bunch of overeducated morons who never lived in life at all. Like all these business professors you got in college. Whichever one of them worked for a company and had to sit there and worry about a bottom line. It's all good in theory until you got to use it in practice. And today in economics or business, debt is money. Debt is an asset. So I guess if your company's going broke, you just sit there and charge a bunch of shit on the credit card and get a bank loan and spend a lot more money, so you have a lot more debt, so you have a lot more assets, right? Crazy time, people, crazy time. Okay, I don't know what they're teaching in schools now, but that sure wasn't the education we got. Debt is only an asset as long as somebody's still paying on that debt. And as we know now, a lot of people are going delinquent on their debt. I mean, why did 3 weeks ago the banks need $120 billion over a couple of days to stay solvent? Because people can't pay the banks back on their loans. Okay? Anyway, but we'll sit there and keep giving them tax dollars so they don't go under. All right, now we're going to do a little talking about Bigfoot. Yeah, Bigfoot. And, that's one thing I want to do is go on a Bigfoot expedition. Anyway, I don't have to go as far as I thought I would have to go. Got a strange call this week from somebody who said they saw Bigfoot, told me where they saw it. And I went and did a little investigation. And it got too warm, so the snow had melted. But anyway, it's a very reliable person that I trust dearly. And, he's just as surprised that he saw it, that I'm surprised he called me and told me he saw it. He, works at night, travels the roads, and, got in his headlights. Anyway, I go out to this area, right? And I've driven through this area before, years past. So anyway, people have a Bigfoot fetish there. I never heard of somebody seeing them, but now that this person saw it in this area, and now with the other signs of people had to see them, because they have Bigfoot silhouettes, and some guy I saw had a Bigfoot silhouette on his license plate and stuff. So what I want to do is do some investigating next spring, or maybe even this winter. I may go and start talking to the area people around there. Because like I say, it's like there's too many. I mean, you could drive around the country, right? And it's not like you're going to see Bigfoot type of stuff in one small area, a bunch of it. Anyway, I think people have seen stuff, and I want to go around and interview people and stuff and maybe get some permission, because this ain't mountainous or nothing, but it is in Nebraska, and get permission from the landowners, especially the ones that may have seen or heard something, and maybe they can let me investigate the property a little bit. I mean, why not, right? All I want to do is see him. I don't want to be responsible for him being in a zoo. But yeah, I can start my expedition in Nebraska, about 4 hours east of where I'm living. So anyway, crazy time, huh? Boy, I tell you what, I told the guy too, he goes, boy, I've never seen nothing like that before. He goes, I said, you'll probably never see it again either. So I hope you enjoyed all of it. But the description he gave was just a description as everybody gives. As a bipedal, tall, dark-haired creature that looked like it was hunched over in the back. And he said it didn't look like it was running, but the ground it covered he said it covered ground really fast, but he said it didn't look like it was running. And he said it cleared the fence like the fence wasn't even there. So anyway, just one little mystery I want to figure out for myself. Like I say, the name of this channel is Hidden Truths, right? So let's go find some hidden truths and have fun at it. I don't know if I turned the corner and came face to face with Bigfoot, how much fun I would be having at that time. But hey, at least my answer would be, my question would be answered. Yep, he exists and he stands right there. Can I leave now, sir? Anyway, something I want to do. Something I'm going to explore. That's the thing in this country. We're allowed to pursue our happiness. And the older we get, let's just say our hobbies may become a little bit more eccentric. Anyway, that's why I want to stay in shape, stay healthy, so I can do this. But anyway, well, YouTube didn't exactly promote this live stream very much, but that's understandable. Like I say, the biggest problem in this world is nobody. If somebody said something you disagree with, you want to shut them up right away. How are we supposed to solve our problems if everybody wants to live in an echo chamber? Anyway, I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate the support, okay? The comments and stuff. Any little bit to help the analytics help support the channel. Like I say, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Land of the living skies. Hello, land of the living skies. I like it. I like it. Hey, I tell you what, you people need to go check out all my other content on my channel. Got a lot of shorts out there, a lot of good ones, political ones, shorts that are 4 seconds long. I say a lot in a short time. Okay. Plus, there's entertaining ones there too. A lot of animals and stuff. So check out my shorts. I'd appreciate it. Spread them, share them. Okay. Even if somebody you think that doesn't going to agree with it, share with them. One thing about my shorts is, it's my opinion, but it gets people to think. It can get some people angry. It can get some people to agree with me, make some people laugh, whatever. But check out my other content. I'd sure appreciate it. And like I say, go out and share that. And, we work hard as content creators here on YouTube. And it's not like, you get some, if you go against the narrative, like my channel's still growing, right? YouTube's got the foot on the brakes, both feet on the brakes. And because of the support of the people that watch me, we just burning, the brakes are smoking, but we're going forward. We're power braking. Yep. And every once in a while, YouTube lets their foot off the brake and I just go into warp 1. And then they stop me just as fast. This is the thing, we want AI in our lives. As a content creator, we understand AI and how powerful it is to be able to take our rights from us. Anyway, and then we got kids dealing with AI toys and stuff. Anyway, ain't gonna be good in the future. Anyway, that's the way I see it. Northern Canada, it's full of on winter up here. Yeah, I tell you what, here in the Panhandle in Nebraska, this is crazy this winter. We need moisture, but it's going to be in the 50s and 60s on Monday and Tuesday. I mean, it's like we're going through fall here. I'll probably do a live stream, fireside chat Tuesday night if it's going to be in the 60s. But, and then again, in Nebraska here where I live, I've had 5 feet of snow in my grove all winter long. It's the way it is here in Nebraska. It'd be freezing one week and out riding horse and t-shirt the next week. So anyway, but yeah, I feel for you. I grew up in Minnesota, so the coldest I ever was, that I remember, was 52 below. And it had an Alberta clipper come through. And for 10 days, it just kept getting colder and colder and colder. And that last morning, it was 52 below. That was just with the temperature. And it's not like the wind was blowing that much, but it didn't have to. Nothing started. I mean, we couldn't get to work. We'd sit there and try to work on a vehicle, and you have your gloves off for one. You couldn't have them off for 2 minutes, but 1 minute, and they were freezing. It was just on crazy cold. And, that's the way it gets sometimes. And I'm sure up there in Canada it doesn't get much better. But that's why we all like snowmobiling, right? I tell you what, I love snowmobiling. Winter used to be my best season. I loved winter. Because you didn't have to worry about the bugs. Go out to the woods, you didn't have to worry about the bears. I mean, just snowmobile all day long. It was a great time. I wonder why I put up with what we do. Yeah, we do. Ice fishing, yeah. And I tell you what, these people have never seen an ice fishing town. They're missing out. See, the reason I'm not a good ice fisherman is because I don't like drinking. So I love playing cribbage and all that stuff. But when they start getting hammered, I get on the snowmobile and I just ride the trails and stuff. But yeah, those ice fishing towns, ice fish house towns. I mean, they have streets and stuff. It's like a little village that forms on the lake. It's cool as hell. Nice place to hang out. So anyway, yeah. There's a lot of fun to be done in the wintertime. Just got to dress up a little bit. Before you're having fun, you don't even notice the cold. Anyway, especially snowmobiling, right? I had a fan-cooled Yamaha phaser, the 500 phasers they had. And I'd be calling guys up and, hey, man, you want to go riding? Because it was like, the best time of fan-cooled runs is when it's 0 or colder. To be 10 below 0. Let's go snowmobile. Heck no, it's too cold. They all have liquid-cooled snowmobiles. So anyway, I'd go out there and have a blast by myself. Go out there and put a couple 100 miles on it one day. I prefer surf, sand, sweat, and surfing. Don't forget about the girls. They're nice to look at too. They're on the beach too, right? Tell you what, you go over to Europe, and the women there on the beaches just love taking their goddamn clothes off. Yep. And, they don't worry about wearing a skimpy bathing suit. They just take the clothes off, and then you go to the beaches in this country. Oh, my God. Not like they're wearing many clothes anyway now, are they? So I had a lot of fun on Europe and down in Florida on the beach and stuff. And, I like the water. It was Anyway, like I say, go out and enjoy yourself. Things can be getting a little crazy, so whatever you can do to enjoy yourself a little bit these days, I suggest doing. So enjoy that ice fishing. Like Grumpy Old Man. Yeah, the first one, Grumpy Old Man. Yeah, Ice Fish House Town. They actually have that on almost every major lake. You got these small lakes everywhere else, but it's just, when the ice gets 4 feet thick, I'm kind of leery about going on ice. I won't drive on ice unless it's at least 2 feet thick. But, I'm not one of these guys that, oh, my God, we got 3 inches of ice. First layer of ice on there. Let me go out ice fishing. I can get out here with my sled and my chair. No. Anyway. Northern Saskatchewan. Got people here from Canada. I appreciate y'all being here. I hope you straighten your country out. Here you have a lot of problems up there with the old gun control thing. I can't imagine. I mean, it's not like gun control. God, you live out there in the middle of a cabin where you're surrounded by all sorts of wild animals, and they're going to sit there where you don't have to worry about people. You have to worry about bear attacks and stuff, and they're not going to allow you to be armed. Say, government always wants to take the guns because that's the best way they know they can stay in control. Anyway, crazy times, people. But yeah, you up there in Canada, you're a little bit further ahead of the curve than we are. Well, you have been for a while. But we're trying to catch up. We're trying to make sure we have that socialized medicine, just like you guys do. Farm country, too. You got wheat fields up there, do you? Anyway. But I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody spending a little bit of their Saturday night with me. Say, check out the rest of my content. I got lots. Well over 1,400 videos on YouTube on this channel. So please go check them out and share them if you would. And, I just want, one thing on purpose of this channel is to get the word out, bring people together from both sides of the political aisle or whatever your difference is. Bring us together so we can solve this problem. Quit arguing with each other. Okay? When we start communicating, we'll start solving problems. And if we are not allowed to communicate, we'll never solve our problems. And if we start communicating and to realize the only way to solve our problems is through violence, then we'll figure it out then. But they ain't going to silence me. Okay, they ain't going to silence me. Anyway, appreciate everybody being here. Like I say, enjoy your weekend. And Monday night Monday morning I'll be live streaming again, 8 o'clock in the or yeah 8 o'clock in the morning Mountain Time on my weekdays. So we'll see what next week has to bring. I just say this war with Venezuela, as long as the American public doesn't get behind it, they'll never start that war. They ain't going to start that war with a 20% approval rating. Okay, and they can't sell the public on it now. So anyway, just going to be rattling his sabers. I hope. Because if they try to do something stupid in Venezuela, you say they're going to piss off a lot of South American and Central American countries that, and one of them that borders us. So, we never been at war with somebody besides Mexico back during the Mexican War. Was at 1846 to 48, I think. Okay. But you know what? Mexico would be a lot stronger if they had Russian and Chinese troops on our border now, wouldn't they? Anyway, it just could be a bad thing. So public, don't get behind it. Anyway, that's all I got for this evening. Everybody have a great weekend. This is Tom with Hidden Truths. I'm out of here.